And I say, monks, that existence of being too has a proximate cause. It does not lack a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for existence, bhava? It should be said clinging. Clinging. When you cling to something, so you are attached to something, then you cling to it. Another word for clinging is attachment. Upadana, attachment. When you want it so badly, you cling to it. Then that I arises. I want it. So that bhava, the perception of I, arises because of clinging. Okay. For example, a small boy never tasted ice cream before. He give him ice cream, he think, wow, so nice. He wants some more. You give him another ice cream, I ask him to share with another boy, he don't want to share. Yes or not? He will eat until he gets sick now. Yes or not? So when that clinging is very strong, that I am enjoying this, I want this, that bhava arises due to clinging. I say, monks, that clinging too has a proximate cause. It does not lack a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for clinging? It should be said craving. So when you, like a small boy, he tastes the ice cream, then he craves for it. From craving, then he has attachment for it. So craving brings about attachment. Craving also, okay. I say, monks, that craving too has a proximate cause. It does not lack a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause of craving? It should be said feeling. This feeling, we have a pleasant feeling, we have unpleasant feeling, we have neutral feeling. When pleasant feeling arises, then you crave for it. So, business people are very smart. They create things that give you pleasant feeling. Your feel-good channel is one. Yeah. So, feeling gives you craving. So, the feeling too has a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause of feeling? It should be said contact. Contact. We have six sense bases. At the six sense bases, for example, form appears before your eyes. And there is contact. Once there is contact, you see, then feeling arises, depending on what you see. And secondly, when sound comes to your ear, when it contacts your ear, also a feeling arises. So at the six sense basis, when the six sense objects contact your six sense basis, then feeling arises. So contact also has a proximate cause. What is the proximate cause for contact? It's the six sense basis. It's because you have the six sense basis, the six sense organs, that you have contact at the six sense basis. And what is the cause for the six sense basis? Name and form, nama rupa. Nama rupa can also be translated as mentality, materiality. And then the cause for nama rupa is vijnana, consciousness. Now these two are like Siamese twins. Siamese twins, sometimes they join at the head, sometimes they join at the body. They cannot go apart from each other. So these two are the same, consciousness and nama rupa. When consciousness arises, you are conscious, right? You cognize. So what is it you are conscious of? Is nama rupa. So nama rupa is the object of consciousness. In the English word is phenomena. So this object of consciousness, there are two types. One is the mental object of consciousness. The other one is the physical object. So the mental object is nama. The physical object of consciousness is rupa, the physical world. Right? So nama rupa is mentality, materiality, which means phenomena. It is not mind and matter. When you investigate nama rupa, it cannot be mind and matter because it does not have consciousness. Consciousness is the counterpart of nama rupa. So nama rupa by itself does not have consciousness. So when consciousness arises, nama rupa arises. When consciousness ceases, nama rupa also ceases. They arise and cease at the same time. They are like Siamese twins, as I mentioned. So nama rupa must be the object of consciousness, which is phenomena. So from having nama rupa, then you know that you have 6 sense bases. Okay. So the proximate cause for consciousness is volition. This word sankhara is another difficult word to understand. This sankhara in the Paticca Samuppada says there are 3 types of sankhara: body, kaya sankhara, vachi sankhara, and chitta sankhara. And then later books say that sankhara means karma, creating karma, intentional action. But unfortunately, they did not notice that in the suttas there are 2 sets of sankharas. One is kaya, vachi, and chitta sankhara. The other one that has got to do with karma is kaya, vachi, and mano sankhara. It's different. So this one is not creating karma. But when you say volition, volition is like intention, will. So if you want to include karma, also can. But more importantly, to me, it is the will to live. It is because of the will to live that we have consciousness. You must remember that consciousness is not an unending stream of consciousness. If you don't understand the Dhamma, we like to think that consciousness is an unending stream. Actually, in the Buddha's teachings, consciousness arises from conditions. Like for example, seeing consciousness arises and passes away very fast. And then, for example, hearing consciousness arises and passes away very fast, extremely fast. So these 6 consciousness, they arise and pass away, so fast that you think that they are continuous, but actually they are arising and passing away. Now, when one consciousness arises and passes away, what is it that makes another consciousness arise and pass away? There is something that makes it arise and pass away, And this something is sankhara, the volition, which to me is more like the will to live. Because we have a strong will to live. Every time our consciousness dies, it will light up again, just like a fire. When a fire is going off, when it's very almost about to go off, then a wind comes, slight wind, and then it bursts into flames again. So this wind is that sankhara, the volition, which has more to do of that will to live. Of course, if you want to add the karma part, you can also. So this volition also has a proximate cause. What is the proximate cause of volition? Is avidya, ignorance. It's because of ignorance that we want to continue living in samsara. Because we see ourselves as this body and this mind. There is, when I used to study Hinduism, there's one holy man. He said something which was quite striking. He said the ordinary person sees himself in the world. An enlightened person sees the world in himself. His mind has opened up until the whole world is inside him. Just like the Arahant Anuruddha. This member Anuruddha, his psychic eye is so powerful. He can see 1,000 world systems like in the palm of his hand, so small. So an enlightened person sees the world in himself. But we, bodo, we see ourselves in the world. So from here you can see it's because of ignorance of the 4 noble truths that we have this will to live. We want life. And it's because we want life that consciousness continues, bursts into, arises and passes away, and because of the will to live, it arises and passes away, non-stop. So from consciousness, you have nama rupa, which is the twin, Siamese twin of consciousness. And when you have consciousness and nama rupa, then you realize that you have 6 sense bases. And the 6 sense bases will bring contact at the 6 sense doors. And contact will bring upon you feeling. And because of feeling, when you have pleasant feeling, then you crave for it. And when you crave for it, then you attach to it, you cling to it. And clinging brings about existence. You see yourself, I want this. This I am arises. That being arises. And because of existence, then you see yourself born into the world. Once you have that I, then you realize, oh, I am born into the world. And birth, because of birth in the world, you have suffering. Suffering means, in the Buddha's teachings, suffering is, birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickening is suffering, dying is suffering. Not to get what you want is suffering. To be separated from your loved ones is suffering. To associate with your enemies is suffering. And in short, the Buddha says, the 5 aggregates of attachment, your body and your mind, is suffering. So once you have this, see yourself born into the world, you have suffering. And because of suffering, you start searching. This search is the extra one I added. So because of searching, you come into the Dhamma, then you have faith, Saddha. And after you have faith, you have understood the Buddha's teachings, then joy arises. Then when joy arises, then you practice meditation, you put in energy, and then delight arises, piti. And from delight, if you carry on, then you have passaddhi, tranquility of mind. And tranquility of mind will bring happiness. And happiness will bring about concentration, which is perfect concentration, 4 jhanas. And when you have perfect concentration, then you know and see things as they really are. In particular, you know and see the 5 aggregates, your body and mind, as they really are. And when you understand these 5 aggregates as they really are, then you have revulsion for these 5 aggregates. And after you have revulsion, then you have dispassion, disenchantment. And when you have disenchantment, then it leads to liberation. And then when you have liberation or destruction of the asavas, then you know that you have destroyed the asavas. So when you count these links, it amounts to 24, double the normal one. The normal one is only 12. So that's the end of this sutta. You have anything to discuss, we can discuss. You know, when you listen to talks like this, then you understand much faster. If you go and study the Nikayas yourself, you spend many years scratching your head. So it's good to attend Dhamma talks. Okay, anything?
What is the difference between happiness, delight, and joy?
There's a shade of difference. It is not very clear cut. Just like, for example, in your mind, you have feeling, you have perception, you have volition, you have consciousness. Now, if you want to divide them clearly, also very difficult, because you cannot have feeling without consciousness, isn't it? Feeling is a type of consciousness, isn't it? So perception also is a type of consciousness. Volition also is a type of consciousness. So even though in the suttas they are said to be separate, but if you try to split hairs, very not so easy. But when you experience them, then there's a shade of difference. Any other thing? Yeah.
You know, when you read books on Buddhism,
yeah.
there is a feelings Guru will enlighten.
Say again, the Guru?
The enlightened. Is in the sense enlightenment the same as the Buddhist sense?
Not necessarily.
So what do we mean when they say they enlightened?
By their standard is enlightened. Just like in Mahayana teachings, like in Zen Buddhism, you should find stories. This disciple comes to the teacher takes a rotan and knocks his head, then he shouts, he's enlightened already. So that is, to us, that is not really enlightened. But in Mahayana Buddhism, they talk of enlightenment as the mind returning to nature. So it's like opening up of the mind. And to us, that is arupa jhana. Arupa jhana. So the mind opens up, but that is not yet enlightenment. But it's still a high state.
I think the Kaya Sankara, if I'm not mistaken, is the body condition, which is the breath, isn't it?
Yes, in Paticca Samuppada, or dependent origination, Kaya Sankara is the body conditioner, which is the breath, because the body depends on the breath to live. And Vachi Sankara is said to be thoughts, thinking. Thoughts directed and sustained. So this, because Vachi means speech. Before you can speak, you must think, isn't it? So this thinking is vitaka and vichara. So after you think only, you can speak. That's why speech conditioner is thinking. And then the mental chitta sankara is perception and feeling. For the chitta, the mind to work, you must have the condition of this perception and feeling. Once perception and feeling arises, it comes together with consciousness. The consciousness, the mind starts working. So you can say that this volition, this breathing, this kaya sankara, is governed by the will to live. It's because we have this will to live that we have programmed into our mind to breathe. And because it has been programmed into our mind to breathe, so it becomes almost automatic. We breathe in and out almost automatically. We don't realize actually there is a will behind it. So unless somebody stops the breathing, if somebody were to strangle you or something, then you make great effort to breathe, right? So it's because of your will to live that you want to breathe. And the other one, this Vachi Sankara, is due to thinking. This thinking also is concerned with the will to live, because in the aharas, the nutriments that contribute to the continuation of life, living beings, we are sustained by certain conditions, and thoughts are one of them. When we have thinking, it sustains our continuation of our body and our mind. Same with this perception and feeling. When we have perception and feeling, that comes together with consciousness, and consciousness is also one of the nutriments for the persistence of life. That's why I believe that these sankharas are connected with the will to live. Yeah.
Something I didn't catch it at the beginning. This sutta reference is
12.23. But when you look into this sutta, it's so short. Doesn't give you, it's just the bare bones. Any other thing? If you look into Buddhist teachings, you find there are a lot of, for example, meditation teachers. They teach meditation, which is the path to enlightenment, the path to liberation. And yet surprisingly, you find they never explain what is enlightenment. Sometimes they say, like for example, vipassana meditation, the aim is to attain wisdom. Yeah. But liberation is not attaining wisdom. Liberation is a physical happening, and this physical happening is destruction of the asavas. So surprisingly, you find a lot of monks, they don't explain what is this destruction of the asavas. If they understand destruction of the asavas, then they really understand that you cannot have destruction of the asavas, arahanthood, without the jhanas. Because when you enter a state of jhana, you have stopped the flow of asavas for as long as you are in that jhana. So at least you are able, if you abide in jhana for 1 hour, you are able to stop the asavas for 1 hour. If you are able to prolong this length of time you are in jhana, then you have more skill in stopping the asavas. So to be able to destroy the asavas, at least you must be able to stop it for some time, isn't it? So if you don't enter the jhana, or you don't have the ability to enter the Buddha's jhana, then you don't have the ability to stop the flow of the asavas, which means you can never become liberated. That's why in the Buddha's teaching, in the Majjhima Nikaya, somebody asked the Venerable Ananda, what type of meditation is praised by the Buddha? What type of meditation is not praised by the Buddha? What did Venerable Ananda say? The type of meditation praised by the Buddha is the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. In other words, only this is Buddhist meditation, And then the type of meditation which is not praised by the Buddha is a type of meditation where the 5 hindrances are not eliminated. But the 5 hindrances are only eliminated when you attain the jhanas. That is quite clear in the suttas. So if you go and practice a type of meditation where you cannot stop the asavas from flowing, at least for a certain period, you have no hope of enlightenment, no hope of attaining arahanthood. That's why the Buddha says that the jhanas are the footprints of the Buddha. Sometimes people like to belittle the jhanas, are saying, these external ascetics, they practice jhana also, they don't become enlightened. Just because they practice jhana, they don't become enlightened, doesn't mean jhana is not necessary. It's because they don't practice all the factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. If you use that type of argument, then you can say, these external ascetics, they keep sila, but they never become enlightened, so sila is no use. Isn't it? That's the same kind of logic, isn't it? Sila is not unnecessary. Sila is necessary. But if you practice sila by itself, you cannot become enlightened. Just like you practice jhana by itself, you cannot become enlightened. You need all the factors of the Noble Eightfold Path together only will bring you enlightenment. Isn't it? Sometimes this type of silly reasoning they give is not valid.
And that was reported as saying one of the 4 methods to become arahants is vipassana, then samatha. But I understand that without the samatha, your vipassana mind will be clear enough to do vipassana.
Say again, without what?
Without the clear mind of jhana, you can't do vipassana properly because the mind is not clear. So I can do vipassana first and then samatha.
Firstly, you must be clear. In the suttas, vipassana is not concerned with meditation. In the suttas, vipassana means contemplation, and contemplation means is actually the 7th factor of the Noble Eightfold Path. Contemplation refers to contemplation of the body, feelings, mind, and Dhamma. And out of these 4 objects of contemplation, the most important is the Dhamma. Why? Because it's stated in the suttas that a person attains liberation on 5 occasions. Only 5 occasions a person becomes an arahant. The first one is listening to the sutta. He becomes an arahant. The second one, when he's teaching the sutta, he becomes an arahant. The third one, when he's repeating the sutta, he becomes an arahant. Because in the Buddha's time, they had no books. So when they repeat the suttas, it's just like you're reading books now. You keep reading the book again and again. Then you understand more and more. So when they repeat it, they attain arahanthood. The fourth is when they reflect on the Dhamma, they attain arahanthood. The last one is when they meditate, and they meditate on the samadhi nimitta, reflect on it, then they attain arahanthood. So vipassana is the seventh factor of the Noble Eightfold Path. The eighth factor is Sama Samadhi, which is the four jhanas. So, if you don't practice the four jhanas, you're only practicing seven factors, Okay? So that cannot bring you to enlightenment. Now, Satipatthana is different from Sati. Satipatthana, it is said in the suttas that when you practice the first factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, it will bring you to the second factor. And the second factor will bring you to the third factor, etc. In other words, you start with right view. After you have right view, then you have right thoughts. And right thoughts, because of right thoughts, you have right speech. Because before you speak, you must think. So right thoughts bring you to right speech. And right speech brings you to right action. And right action brings you to right livelihood. And right livelihood brings you to right effort. You start observing your mind, correcting your mental states. And then right effort will bring you to right recollection, which is samasati. Why I use the word recollection means remembering your four objects that you should contemplate, the body, feelings, mind, and Dhamma. That's why it's called recollection. It is not general mindfulness, It is not mindfulness of other things, only mindful of four things: body, feeling, mind, and Dhamma. That is samasati. That's why it's called remembering. Sati is a word that means remembering. Remembering to contemplate these four things. And then after you practice samasati, it must bring you to sama samadhi. And how does samasati bring you to sama samadhi? Nowadays, some monks say sati got nothing to do with samadhi, sati got nothing to do with jhanas, but it has. In the suttas, satipatthana is the link. Sati and satipatthana is different. Satipatthana is an intense state of sati. That means you contemplate one object to the exclusion of everything else. This you can understand from the Satipatthana Samyutta. In the Samyutta Nikaya, there's one sutta in the Satipatthana Samyutta that explains how to practice Satipatthana, and it gives this parable, this simile of the most beautiful girl of the land came out and all the men clapped their hands and shouted, the most beautiful girl of the land. And then more people came out and shouted and clapped. Then they asked her to sing and dance, and she sang and danced, and more people came out to shout and clap their hands. Then an ordinary guy came along, and he was caught and made to carry a bowl of oil filled to the brim, filled to the top. And he was asked to walk in the middle of the crowd of people, and they told him, we walk behind you with the sword. If you spill this oil, even one drop of this oil will chop off your head. So this poor guy has to walk. Does he dare to look at the beautiful girl? Yeah, not. His life is at stake. So he has to look at this oil all the time with undivided attention on one object only. This simile was given in the suttas to make us understand what is the meaning of Satipatthana. And then there is another sutta that says that if you practice Satipatthana skillfully, you must attain samadhi. You must attain concentration. If you don't practice it in the right way, you will not end up with jhana. You practice in the right way, like this guy looking at the bowl of oil with undivided attention, you must end up in concentration. So when you practice Satipatthana, it brings you to the jhanas. So the cause of the jhanas is actually Satipatthana. That is why in the suttas they ask Venerable Anuruddha, what is it you practice that you got such great psychic power? You can see 1,000 world systems in the palm of your hand. What did he say? Satipatthana. So Satipatthana is synonymous with jhana. Because it's impossible to have psychic power without jhana. So when he says Satipatthana, it means Satipatthana and jhana is the same thing. But nowadays, there are some monks that say you practice Satipatthana, nothing to do with jhana. They are not for teaching what the sutta say, they are giving their own opinions. By the way, I brought some MP3s. During the Vasa, I gave talks every night, almost every night, on the Samyutta Nikaya. And the Samyutta Nikaya, of all the Nikayas, the most profound is the Samyutta Nikaya. I don't know of any other monk who has spoken on the Samyutta Nikayas. So I brought some. Anybody interested can take. If you really listen to it again and again, you have a very good chance of getting right view. You get right view, you enter the stream, and then you enter the stream, all the ghost realm, animal realm, hell, all close to top pintu. So then you can take a slow boat out of samsara, never mind. Because when you are reborn, you will only be reborn as a human being or heaven, deva or devi. And even if you come back as a human being, you will have a very happy life, because as if you are an Arya, you have a lot of blessings. Okay, there's nothing else. You can transfer merit.